Hey friend, welcome to my channel karinealourde, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars in history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload. Now let's get into this video. Today we are talking about Beverly Peele, and many people only know of Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell when you speak of black models, but there are so many 90s black models out there that were really doing their things, and not just in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, and the 60s. And I will be introducing you guys to more of them in the future, but Beverly Peele was one of the most gorgeous and beautiful to me. The 6-foot tall, petite, ebony princess and American supermodel Beverly Peele is popular for her incredibly slim figure, beautiful full lips, and chiseled bone structure in her prime. She rose to fame during the late 80s and flourished under the spotlight through the 90s. She appeared on over 250 fashion magazine covers, including Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. As usual, we'll get into some of her hobbies. She stated in an interview with karinealourde, "I like making jewelry and I paint. I taught myself how to paint. I have a studio where I go when I can't sleep at night. I taught myself by mimicking. I study different styles of art. I love to cook. I like to just sit and play video games on my phone sometimes, and reading a book." She also shared some advice for aspiring models, which I thought was really sound advice, especially I have a lot of friends that are models and in the industry. So if you're an aspiring model, comment below what you think of this advice. Before you get into anything, you have to dig deep and really figure out if this is what you want to do, or is it something that you just see as fabulous, or is it because you see and think it's all glamour? That would be my first thing to ask. Secondly, if that is what you want, then you need to study it. You need to know what it is to be a model. Being a model is not just somebody who gets free clothes and people doing everything for you. That's an upside of it. But to differentiate a model from a model, we know the lines of the clothes. We know what angle is the best for our face. And we know if we put on something, how to make it look presentable. You're a walking hanger. You're selling whatever the designer is selling. They're not really choosing you because you're a great person. They're using you for your body and your looks. So you have to give back what it is that they want to make their stuff look good. So as long as people understand that and don't take things personally, then you'll go far. It's cliche to say follow your dreams and goals, but it's true. You should follow your dreams. However, sometimes following your dreams can leave you broke or doing heroin, or lead you to selling your body. You have to follow your dreams with a plan. For example, if it doesn't work out in a certain amount of time, then have something to fall back on where you can still survive and make money. That's the worst thing you want to do, is spend a whole bunch of money to follow your dreams and then you're left with nothing, end quote. Me personally, I love this. Always have a plan B, and it doesn't just go for modeling, it goes for anything you want to do in this life. Yes, follow your dreams, but also be very realistic. If things are not working out for you in one sector of following your dreams, move on to the next after a time. Do not spend 30 years in the same field trying to make it and it's just not working out for you. But if you just started, you didn't even dedicate 5 years to your dream, I think quitting prematurely can also do damage. Also, at least give it some time, you know. Now let's get into her childhood. She began her career when she was 11, at which time her mother enrolled her in an etiquette class to become more graceful. In the same interview with karinealourde, she spoke on her childhood, saying, "The way I started modeling, it was more like an after-school activity and it just blew up. I wasn't one of those little girls who followed modeling. I didn't want to be a model. I didn't look at magazines. I wasn't allowed to watch TV. I was a dancer, track runner, swimmer. I took piano lessons and was in theater at school. My mom put me in everything to keep me from being bored. I wasn't raised in a bad neighborhood. My parents were very wealthy. We were upper middle class. So it was just one of those things. My mom put me in etiquette school, which evolved into modeling. And the next thing I know, I'm the youngest African American supermodel. Out of all the stuff I did, I had no idea where it could take me or what it could do." When you're that age, up until you probably hit your 30s, you don't really foresee the future. You know that it exists, but you don't think like, wow, I can see me here, end quote. Peele appeared to be a natural, winning modeling contests just a few months after her debut in 1987, and soon began modeling at catwalk shows in Paris at the age of 12. Beverly Peele began her modeling career in 1987 and landed her first magazine cover, Mademoiselle, in 1989. Landing the cover of Mademoiselle made her the first black model to ever be featured on the magazine cover. During her modeling career, she was featured in ads for the likes of Ralph Lauren, Donna Karan, Versace, among others. She also did runway work for Chanel and Comme des Garçons. Peele has appeared on magazine covers worldwide, including Vogue, Mademoiselle, Elle, and Cosmopolitan. By the age of 14, Peele had made over $1 million and gained popularity going into the 1990s. In 1991, she was photographed with Naomi Campbell for Elle magazine and made her Vogue cover debut the following year. In addition to modeling, Peele also appeared in Heavy D and The Boys music video for Nothing But Love, Jodeci's 1995 video, Freakin' You. In 1997, she began acting and appeared in Sister Sister and Girlfriends. Peele also had a role in the 2002 film Sweet Friggin' Daisies with Zooey Deschanel. Remembering her modeling days, she stated, "As a teenager, I traveled all over the world for fashion shoots and runway shows. It was lonely work. Some days I woke up not knowing what country I was in or what language I was supposed to be speaking, but it was a lot of fun. During my first runway season, I carried a book bag with me everywhere so I could finish my schoolwork backstage. Megan Douglas would help me with my algebra, and other models stopped by to help with history assignments." Now, let's get into a scandal that she got into. So, Beverly Peele sentenced to 3 years probation and 300 hours of community service for stealing a woman's credit card information and charging thousands of dollars in merchandise. So I think it was a fridge and some furniture that she charged to the card. In 1993, at age 17, Peele had a daughter named Cairo with former partner Jeffrey Alexander. She has since welcomed 2 sons, Trey and DJ, and a daughter, Storm. Cairo, DJ, and Storm appeared with Peele on the Lifetime docuseries Growing Up Supermodel. In 2021, Peele alleged that Peter Nygaard was the father of her son Trey, who she said was conceived after Nygaard sensually took advantage of her sometimes in the 1990s. An attorney for Nygaard did deny the allegations. And who Peter Nygaard is, he had his own clothing brand and he was just signing models left to right. And he faced a lot of allegations from other models who claimed he, took advantage of them. He's like the Epstein, if you guys catch my drift. I don't want to say that name on YouTube because they're quick to demonetize. Beverly's fame and success eventually led her to become a model for Peter Nygaard's clothing brand. And she told Elle, and I quote, "I was well into my 20s when I met Peter." She told Elle, I'm just going to read what they have on here. It says, "I was well into my 20s when I met Peter, but my career didn't show any signs of slowing down. 2 days after that first video to his Marina Del Rey mention, I returned to sign a 3-year-long modeling contract with his fashion company. The ink was still wet on the paper when he violated me. It felt like an eternity, but it probably only lasted 4 minutes. I felt so ashamed afterward. This old man had taken what he wanted without asking. The next morning, a BMW truck with a big purple bow on top appeared in my driveway. I assumed it was his way of telling me to keep quiet. I didn't tell anyone, especially not my fiance, about what had happened. Our wedding was in 3 months and I didn't want to ruin that. Instead, I returned the car and put on my game face. I had just committed to a contract and I had work to do, but it felt wrong in every sense of the word. I felt trapped. My wedding was beautiful. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was actually pregnant. When my belly started to show, my husband got so excited about the baby. It stayed exciting right up until he was born. My husband was black and I'm black, but my baby boy was white. I was in complete disgust. I didn't want to hold or breastfeed him. My mom had to physically put him in my arms and take my fingers and make me hold him. It probably took a good 2.5 months to come to terms with the fact that I now had a child with a man who had taken advantage of me. My husband and I separated when Trey was 10 months old, but didn't officially divorce until years later. I just packed up one day and said, "Look, I can't be with you." I didn't have an explanation. I felt guilty, ashamed, and most of all, scared. Peter took an interest in Trey, becoming very concerned with his education and the sports he played. Peter also wanted shared custody of Trey so that he could see him every Christmas and summer. That meant I also had to be there every Christmas and every summer. Beverly and Trey did eventually grow closer, and by the time he was 12, she did tell him the truth about how he was conceived. It's hard to explain why, but when I looked at the two of them together, it made me happy. I felt it was important for Trey to know his father despite what he did to me. Peter ceased paying child support on January 1st, 2021, and because Beverly's payments were made so tardily, the Peele family nearly became homeless. Throughout the summer, she is nonetheless adamant about standing up for what is right, particularly given that she thinks Peter withheld the money as retaliation for her telling the truth about what happened to her, and it's not fair. Although the fashion mogul has denied ever using the model for his own gain, no case has yet been established in court. These days, with Nygaard in jail, accused of all the things that he's been accused to a number of women, and facing charges of, trafficking and racketeering after his arrest late last year, Peele feels more comfortable telling her story with her son's support. "I'm very thankful for him," she said of trade. "That's the best thing I got out of Peter Nygaard was my son," end quote. What has created controversy in the chat groups and gossip blogs online is Peele's statements in the documentary Chasing Beauty, which details a behind-the-scenes look into the modeling world in the 90s. Now, I must say, I looked everywhere for this documentary. I could not find it except for the trailer online. It was not on Netflix, Hulu, anywhere like that. I don't know if you guys know where I can see the whole clip, but I'm going based off of like blog posts, online, and basically gossip blogs that watch the documentary and not speaking on there. So that's my disclaimer, okay? But I was able to see in the preview that she admitted some things just in the preview. So I would love to see the full thing. If you guys know where I can find this full documentary, please comment below so that I can go watch it and maybe do a breakdown of that documentary and the behind the scenes of the model world. According to a post on Lipstick Alley and a documentary called Chasing Beauty, Beverly Peele said that she used to hook up guys with her friends for a fee. Her model friends. She said, "You too can have a girl that looks like Beverly Peele for $5,000, end quote. And she admitted to having her own little escort service for a fee.
I had my own escort service for a little bit.
I saw crazy stuff.
I went down the rabbit hole after I saw that because Beverly Peele, aside from the Peter Nygaard and all those, was pretty private in the 90s, okay? But y'all know there's a lot that goes on in the model world. So I went down the rabbit hole in the threads online, and people are saying that she could have made up all this Peter Nygaard situation when she got caught having his baby, since she wasn't honest with her fiance. Personally, I'm going to believe her because of the countless victims that have spoken out against him, and maybe there was a fear because she was this young girl, and the culture of modeling at that time, where it's a thing of silence, but it's like two different worlds, where these people have their modeling world where they deal with these big execs and fashion brands and all those things, and that's one world, and then they leave it behind and then they go home and they deal with that world, which is their reality, and they try not to mix those as a sense of a coping mechanism. I'm not gonna just say that, and also another thing, I saw articles where she spoke about how Nygaard used to have these mansion parties, and there was a code for all the girls who showed up. They weren't allowed to leave the mansion until he said so. He would hold their passports hostage and one by one have his way with the women, because in a sense they were auditioning their goodies for billboards and contracts, etc. She even said Peter used to have her watch him have intimacy with these girls during business meetings, and she wouldn't be allowed to say anything but continue with the meeting, like just having a whole meeting with him, and then he's going to town with one of the girls. I don't know. The fact that she said after his violation occurred, she told herself that she just wants to finish her contract and she had work to do, like you see how she wrote for Elle, or her interview with Elle was, "I know I had a contract to fulfill, I just did what I had to do." It left people a little puzzled. Most women in the modeling industry felt like the casting couch was the only way to solidify a career, and they wanted it so bad that they felt they had no choice. Could she have been one of those women? But with backlash against Nygaard, she's now speaking as a victim, because according to these blogs and these documentaries, she was almost bragging about the money she made hooking up these guys with her model friends, and people are speculating that these friends weren't the Naomis and the Tyras of those days, but those younger up-and-coming models without a name for themselves yet. If this is the case, wow, how disappointing, right? I wish I was able to see the documentary for myself, but the numerous discussions and debate around it online has been a little disappointing and has me side-eyeing a little bit. And I want you guys to comment your thoughts below, because I don't know. some people do smile and giggle and laugh when they're in uncomfortable situations. I get that in these discussions, people were saying, yeah, she was talking about these experiences, just giggling and laughing, but a lot of times it's a coping mechanism for them because they're uncomfortable speaking about the situation. But Beverly was young. But I ask this question, if you're young, does that excuse something like this? Because regardless, no matter how you paint it, you know, I love me some Beverly Peele as the model, and I wish health and prosperity to her and her kids and her family and her career. But no matter how you slice it, pawning your friends off for a fee does not sound right. And it does, admitting that does make you sound like you were in cahoots a little bit with the system, the industry. And I would like to hear her speak on that a little bit more to clear that up, as in these dark webs, internet webs, this is how she's being portrayed. And a lot of the models in the industry already has admitted and come forward to doing things like this, like selling off younger up and coming models, you know? And it's just now these up and coming models are speaking up about these things. Like the biggest names in the model industry has pawned these women off, okay? The industry is dark in that way. We did a breakdown for Christy Turlington recently where she said that she felt at times that she might have been complicit in what was happening behind the scenes with the models, because her presence in a situation like that would make other younger models feel safe, that, oh, Christy Turlington is here, so this can't happen to me with her being there. And she felt complicit in that manner. You know, she did say that, not saying that she was involved in anything. And we know Linda Evangelista was married to the other Weinstein of that time. Oh Lord. And she has spoken up against him and stuff and said while she was married to him, she never knew. And a lot of people are choosing to know whether to believe it or not that you're married to someone. You know what your husband typically is up to. But then there are cases where wives be married to their husbands. We see in these true crime cases, and they be living a double life out there, be wanted. And the wife and kids never know anything, truly and sincerely. So you never know, but it's just an overall was a dark industry and still is. And with like social media and now women feeling more comfortable to speak out, and even men, because you guys are probably like, oh, it's just women, but there's a lot of male models that are terrified to speak up because they're a male.
I saw crazy stuff. I was living this double life. I'm Johnny Supermodel, rocketing around the world, and I'm in a cult, and my whole life is being controlled.
This industry is for a masochist.
The business is not forgiving. It doesn't care. You know, it has no feelings.
And here you are being employed because of how you look.
You know, and people don't typically take up what male have to say with their truth and their hurt and what happened to them seriously, or they make fun of them, or if they were taken advantage by a powerful person in the industry that was woman, and that could give them those cover shoots and those billboards and stuff. It's like, why are you complaining? You got what you wanted from a woman, this and that. So that's kind of the culture, and it's a culture of silence. But I don't know, however way you slice it, as much as I love Beverly Peele, I must keep it real and say, if this was a man that admitted something like this, that, yeah, I had my little escort service. Oh yeah, I was pawning off these girls for, you know, $5,000, whether the girls agreed or not, y'all would not find this behavior cute or acceptable or okay in any shape and form. So just because she's, you know, gorgeous and all of that, I'm not gonna excuse that behavior because she admitted to this. I want you guys to comment below your thoughts. If you like the music you're listening to, the link is in the description. Support my brother. Who else would you guys like me to do a breakdown for? And I know this ended kind of cold, but I don't know. It's usually a very unpretty world. The world of fame, celebrity, glamour. It's a very unpretty world where there's a lot of rich and entitled people that will do anything to keep that lifestyle. That lifestyle is addicting, and these people will literally do anything to keep it. Another thing that people mentioned was just how, yeah, her being on the verge of homelessness because Peter stopped paying child support. He was paying her car, and then she said her phones had to be turned off. Like, okay, what happened all these years? What? Not saying that, yeah, he should be paying, any man who lays and have a child with someone should be paying their just due, but what happened with such a big supermodel and a big name? Were you that dependent on his child support And judging how much he was paying in child support to other models, there was like $1,000, $3,000 a month, $1,200 a month. Like, I went down the rabbit hole how much, because he had several other kids he was paying child support to, and he wasn't ordered to pay like, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was a couple $100. That was when he was even paying $400 to $700 a month for child support. So no one could survive on that unless you were his girl on the side too, and he was giving extra funding for those other baby mamas or whatever. So it raised a whole lot of questions in these discussion boards, like, how dependent were you on him, and why did you allow yourself to be so dependent on him after such hurt? I'm not victim blaming or shaming. I don't like that term, but you can be fair and ask some questions, especially with someone who admitted to doing something of her own accord to make money for herself with other young up-and-coming models. You can then ask questions and make things make sense. I love you guys. Like I said, subscribe if you like content like this, and look forward to tomorrow for the next video. I love you guys. Until next time.